We are live. So I am so thankful to be here, and I'm thankful to have all of you here with us, whether you're watching live. And let me know if you are watching live. Shoot me a comment. Post a comment. Let us know if you're live. If you're not, write #replay in the comments so that we know to come back and check your comments afterwards. I am so excited to be here, first of all, because it's been a couple of weeks. I ran into a little bit of a problem, but it's okay. A small setback is not a big deal, but I am super excited about today because, as you can tell, I have a very special guest with me today. So Maria, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to be doing this training with you today.
This is wonderful. And this is my first Facebook Live. So this is very exciting. Thank you.
Wow. I have to say, I'm so proud of you. I didn't know that. And usually some people are so nervous to go live when they haven't done it before, especially when we're offering a training like this. So thank you for being so courageous and putting yourself out there on video today.
Yes.
That's awesome. So Maria, I'm going to let you introduce yourself because I think your introduction would be much better than mine. But I just hope that everybody is paying attention to the things that you're talking about and how they influence our health, how the chaos, our environment around us directly influences the health of our individual, our personal health and our family's health. And that in turn creates our lifestyle. So Maria, will you give us a little bit of a background on what you do and how you got started in this?
Sure. So my name is Maria Grove. I run a company called Bliss This House. I am a small but mighty organizing company. We are based in Connecticut, but we offer, that's my cat. Who also wanted to be on Facebook Live today. We also offer virtual organizing anywhere in the country. I've done work in Virginia, New York, Vermont. So I can do virtual organizing in a number of different places. So we offer services really in any part of your home. I particularly love doing the closet. That's my favorite. I think that,
closet.
Yeah, I love a good closet. I love doing that. So I'm influenced by Marie Kondo. I'm not certified in her services, but I'm really influenced by her work. What we do is we start out with a vision for how you want your space to be. And that I think really works in with the health part of it. Mm-hmm. So you start with a vision. It's not just, I want to be able to find my clothes every morning. It's, I want to be able to be better at my career. I want to work out more. So I want to know where my workout clothes are. I want to have a healthier lifestyle. So I want to know where my yoga pants are, not just to watch Netflix, so I can actually do yoga. So that's those are the special things that we do with our vision at the beginning. And then what I do is I do something called a mountain method, and I do that with every part of your house, not just your closet. And the mountain method is something where I take everything out, and it's a little scary, but it's a lot of fun. And you take everything out and you declutter, because most people, sorry, again. Most people, the average home has something like 300,000 pieces of items in their home. So the first way of organizing is to declutter. So you really do have to get rid of some of your items. You don't need 5 different pairs of black pants. You don't need 2 different whisks. You don't need, you don't need single-use items like a melon baller. You can use another piece of you can use another tool to ball your melon. So it's those kinds of things. So we put everything out, we declutter, and then we find homes for everything to go back in. And one of the pieces that I do especially for mental health, I'm really very interested in reducing anxiety in the home through organizing. And one of the things that I do is I like to create spaces for the eye to rest. So as you can see behind me, I have very minimal pieces of art on my wall. I love art. I have a lot of art, but I didn't do a lot of work on my wall because I wanted somebody who was speaking to me for a consultation, especially for my business, to be able to let their eye rest a little bit on a blank wall. And that's something that I create like in a closet, on a bookcase. You know, you don't overload the bookcase with knickknacks. You want your eye to rest. You want your anxiety to lower when you come into your home because your space is clean and organized.
Wow, I love this. There are so many good points from this. So I'm just going to pick out what has stood out to me. And for those of you, if there's something else that has stood out to you, please drop us a comment. Let us know what your takeaway is from this so far. But first of all, I love knowing that you're going into a house to create a vision, to create a feeling. Like you walk into your closet saying, how do I want to feel today? What's the result that I want? Not what do I have? Because we have so much stuff that it is so hard to decide then between one thing and another, instead of going in with a feeling and saying, this is how I want to feel today. This is the result I'm going to get. This is what I'm going to wear. And you know exactly where you're going to go for it.
You know, I worked with a home that I walked into their living room and it was just covered in books and newspapers. And they were they weren't hoarders. They just had a lot of books. And their living room, especially, they kept telling me that their vision for their living room was family time. They wanted to play games on their coffee table, but they were always moving the books. They wanted to have movie night, but you know, it didn't feel like a relaxing space because of all of these books. And I said, well, why do you have the books? Can we get rid of some of the books? And the idea was that they had the books because they were very professional people. They had gone through higher education. It was representing their education level, and they wanted to keep those books. And so what we did was we found a place somewhere else in the home to display the books. We actually got a nice bookcase and put it in the hallway and made like a library in a hallway. And so it looks really beautiful, but we moved the books out of the living room so that it can be more relaxing, because books are actually very, I don't want to get very woo-woo, but books are very energetic. There's a lot of energy in books. There's a lot of words, there's a lot of ideas. And so if you have books around, there's a lot of energy around. And so when you move those books out of that space, the living room became more calm, and people could play games on the coffee table, sit and enjoy a movie as a family. And that's what they were looking for. And they didn't know that until they started with that vision.
I love that. It's so interesting to hear that as I'm thinking of our family room, where I love to sit and relax, but as I look around and I see the books, that all of a sudden this idea or this thought of, I need to read that book. Oh, I need to read that book. And I meant to do this and I meant to do that. And suddenly my mind is overwhelmed and I forget what I was doing in the first place in that room, right? So that, I really like that. That's a really interesting point, to really make the room do what you want to do in there, like make it work for you instead of working against you.
And I will say, like, so I said that I, follow Marie Kondo, and there's a very controversial Marie Kondo belief that that she says you should only own 30 books. I do not believe that.
That's hard for me too.
I am a book person. I don't understand giving away books. I love books. Books are great. So, and I also believe that buying books and reading books are completely different hobbies. So
that's an interesting point.
The pursuit of that knowledge, when you're in Barnes and Noble or a wonderful independent bookstore and you're like, oh, I'm going to buy this book, I'm going to read this book, and then you never really get to it. that's okay. Maybe whatever you wanted to fulfill was fulfilled by just buying that book and having it and displaying it in your home for a little while, but then maybe someday decluttering it.
That's so interesting. So underlying motives behind why you have something in your home, right?
Mm-hmm.
So would you, for example, tell the story about the client that you went to and you were going through her attic, I think, and you pulled out some old stuff. You tell the story better than
Yeah.
I do.
So I was working with a dear friend, and she was moving homes, and she has 4 adult children, grown, have their own families. And she was cleaning out the attic, and she called me and she sent a picture of what she found, and they were teeth. She found all their baby teeth that they had saved. And she said, "What should I do with these?" And I said, please throw them away. And I think she thought that I was going to say, like, make a, a memory box of them, or a necklace or something. I think she thought that I was going to, really get something creative for her. And I was like, oh no, those got to go. Those have to go. So I I think I think the letters to the Tooth Fairy are gold. Save those. Those are delightful. Have a memory box for each child and put, certain little things like that. You don't have to throw everything away, but teeth, do not you don't need to save teeth. That's scary. That's weird.
So if someone listening to this right now has a box of teeth or other unmentionables that they have been saving, what do you think it is that might be keeping people holding on to these things? And it seemed like this friend of yours just needed your permission to let
Yeah.
go of things. What do you think it is?
Yeah, she was just looking for my permission. I think, well, she was looking for a creative way to display them at first. And then I was like, no, no, there is no creative way to display teeth. No. But I think people who hold on to those things are really holding on to sentimental items. And, what I will say with decluttering is that sentimental items are absolutely the last thing you should tackle.
Mm,
Decluttering is like a muscle that you should work on. You should start with clothes because they are the least sentimental. They are on your body, and so you have a connection to them, but they are not important in the long run of your life. So you should start with clothes, and then go to books, and then go to other parts of your house, and then at the very end do sentimental items after you've done everything else in your home, because you need to flex your muscle and learn how to declutter and really get comfortable with your decision making process. Because at the beginning you're going to say, yes, I love everything, yes, I love everything, but by the end you're going to say, I can't possibly keep everything, and so I need to make some really good decisions. And then, so sentimental items like teeth, I think you hold on to them because you remember your children when they were little and their teeth were falling out, and you snuck into their rooms, and you exchanged the teeth for a quarter, and how sweet that was. But
sorry if we're divulging information that people don't know about.
well,
Right.
sometimes mom's got to help out the tooth fairy.
That's
Sometimes it's
right. That's right.
raining and the tooth fairy can't get there. That's how I always explained it to my kids, that,
Totally true.
so, sometimes, because the tooth fairy is little and she can't always get through the rain. So, but I understand that, but I saw a wonderfully hilarious meme that I did send to my friend after this happened, that said, it was like a Venn diagram, and it said people who collect teeth and hair, and it was serial killers, witches, and mothers. And it was so funny, and I was like, yes, that's totally true. I mean, I have a lock of my child's hair, absolutely. I don't I'm never going to do anything with it, but it's just one of those things that we're like obligated to keep.
That's so funny. So you make a good point, this flexing a muscle. It takes time. So how often should we flex our organizing muscles in order to get better at it? And about how long has it taken you to help your clients develop a regular routine? This is
So
really important.
what you said was perfect, a regular routine.
Hmm.
So you can't just say, I'm going to declutter on, this week and then not do it again. If you have a project that you want to do, you have to make time for it. So the vision is important, but then the calendar planning is important.
Mm.
So if you work 40 hours a week and you can only do this on weekends, plan for no more than 4 hours a session on like a Saturday, because you're going to get tired. It's a very fatiguing process. So block out, if you're best in the mornings, block out 9 to 1 and just say, this is when I'm going to organize the kitchen. And I'm going to pull things out and I'm going to make decisions and then I'm going to put things back in and I'm going to, order the things that I need, maybe some organizers in drawer organizers or whatever. I'm going to do my research, or, or calling a professional organizer and saying, can you come from 9 to 1 on a Saturday? We'll work together. You'll give me some great ideas. I'll work again next Saturday by myself. And then, I'll make more progress. So it's little incremental steps. And like I said, really no more than 4 hours at a time. I never book a session more than 4 hours because the clients get really tired. It's really funny.
So if people are saying to themselves, 4 hours, that's so long, I don't want to spend 4 hours organizing, what would you tell them to do? What would
Well,
be
so
easier than that?
what I just recently did, so on my Instagram and Facebook pages, every month I run a challenge. And so last month, maybe, or the month before, I did a 15-minute challenge. So for 10 days, I did 15-minute challenges, and I gave you a challenge of the junk drawer, the countertops, your closet, just I did 15 minutes in your basement just to assess your basement, not to actually tackle your basement, but just to assess it. So by the end of this challenge, you had amassed 100 minutes of organizing, but you had done it in 15-minute increments.
Cool.
And so I really encouraged you to set a timer, put on some music, do no more than 15 minutes to really start flexing that organizing muscle. And then a lot of people got back to me and said, I started with 15 minutes, but then I got excited about, really getting into my junk drawer, and I wasn't done yet when the timer went off. So I kept going and I found myself doing an hour and I had a great time. So that was really great. So I do offer challenges like that to get people started.
Okay, I love that. And I love that you've mentioned a couple of things that we don't really think about, like making it enjoyable. That can actually be enjoyable. I know the other day, even with one hand, I cleaned off our countertops. It's amazing what you accumulate and you put in piles and more piles and more piles on your countertop and just push things away as you're trying to make room for food, right?
So Amy, what I'll say about countertops is my big thing. I just did a post about that on Instagram. So I believe in a 15-minute clean after dinner. I'm a big I have all kind of automated my system, and after dinner I do the dishes, no matter what they are, make sure that's all done. And then I wipe down all the countertops. And the reason that I can wipe down the countertops is because my countertops are clear.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that my countertops are clear is because I did something where that I also work with clients and I do it, is what you do is you take a big cardboard box and you put everything that's on your countertops in the big cardboard box. And for 24 hours, if you need something from the box, you can put it back on your countertop. So if you make toast every day, you can put your toaster back on the countertop. If you make coffee every day, you can put your coffee maker back on the countertop. But if you only make rice from your pressure cooker once a week, that has to be put away. So if by the end of 24 hours, if there are things left in the box, they either have to be donated or put away in cabinets.
Love it. That's a great idea, because you really kind of forget about the things that don't matter, even though in the moment of throwing it away, you're like, oh, I'm going to need this later. So you keep it and it just
Yeah.
piles up. That's a really great idea. Okay, so the 24-hour rule. I love that. Even putting your coffee pot and your toaster in the box.
Yeah, I put everything in a box, and clients will get back to me and say, wow, I had so much left in the box at the end. And I was like, great, what are you donating? What are you putting away? Let's make some room in cabinets for it, because I don't want you to get rid of your stuff. If you use your crock pot once a week, I use my crock pot maybe once or twice a week, but it doesn't stay on my countertop. I put it in my cabinet, and and it's put away so that I have a clean sweep of my countertops so I can clean them. That's what the ultimate goal is it's easy to clean and it lets your eye rest.
Awesome. So let's talk about that for a minute. You talked about how resting your eyes and making things clean, having things where your eyes aren't constantly focusing on one thing or another reduces anxiety. Can you talk more about that, and maybe how our parents can help reduce the anxiety in their houses from the clutter they see all over the place? How have you found that well, I don't know, maybe if you could just talk about, I don't know what question I was going to ask, but I'd love to hear more about your findings.
Yeah, so I feel better when I don't have a lot of stuff on my desk. I have less things on my coffee table. I have noticed that I feel better when there aren't a lot of things out. I'm not a minimalist by any stretch of the imagination, but I just feel better when, as I keep saying, like my eye can rest on a surface, then it doesn't have all the energy of a piece. Um, so I will say that what's fascinating is, I'm of a certain age that I was taught sewing and home ec, typing in high school, but we were never taught organizing. That's not something that we were taught to do. Yet we're expected to know how to do it. We're expected to know how to organize our homes. And that's why what's really interesting is this new profession of home organizers has kind of gotten pretty large recently with the introduction of like the home edit and Marie Kondo. It's gained popularity as people are realizing they don't know how to organize their homes. So the biggest gift a parent can give their child is an organized home so that they can grow up and have an organized home themselves and know what to do. Know that there's a basket for their keys by the door. Know that their shoes go in a certain place. Know that their closet should be zoned for work and for play so it's easier to find things. Like little tips like that you're maybe you weren't necessarily taught that. I grew up in a very small condo. We didn't have a lot of rooms, so there was no zoning. There was luckily there's not even a closet. So so we didn't have that. I had to learn that on my own as an adult. And and I was organizing as a child. Don't
Like Marie Kondo.
Yeah, my brother would absolutely be like, please stop touching my toys. um but so that being said, though, I'm a professional organizer with a teenage child whose room is so what I will say is that organizing starts with yourself. It starts with your closet, with your office. It starts with your things, the things that you control. You cannot force someone in your home that is not you to be organized, because it'll never work. They have to embrace it. You can't go into somebody's room and organize it for them. You just can't, because they won't embrace the organizational system. They won't know how to fold the way you fold. They won't, you'll lose their trust if you start decluttering their stuff without their permission. So it's very difficult. So if you as a parent want to do this with your child, you have to do it with your child. You have to get them on board and start small. Do something like in the family room with their toys, and say, we're going to rotate your toys. We're not going to have all your toys out all the time. We're going to have this one basket of your toys now, and we're going to rotate them every week. And this is how we're going to cut down on the clutter of toys. And that's how we're going to teach that. And then maybe once that goes a little bit better, then we're going to say, now we're going to go to your closet and we're going to fold your clothes. And I'm going to teach you how to fold your shirts so they stand up so you can get your shirts. And, so kids can learn this stuff. It's just, they have to be on board.
That's awesome. And I totally agree. It's the same thing in our health, right? You spoke to my soul when you said it starts with you. You model what you want your kids to pick up. You don't force them to do it. So that being said, and not going in and forcing your hand and doing it all for them, because they're not going to learn. So I think that's a beautiful approach to this organization. So my next question would be for all of the moms, and because you can relate, all of the parents who work from home or work outside the home, and they come home and their kids' shoes are here, and everywhere they've gone, you can see the trail of where your children have been. And most parents would just pick it up for their kids. What would you tell them to do instead?
So what I said earlier about zoning, I think you zone your home. So not everybody has a mudroom, but you can create kind of a landing zone when you come in. So you find the door that you come in the most. You put up some hooks for backpacks, hats, jackets, things like that. And then you put a couple of baskets or a tray for shoes. And any house cleaner will tell you you should never wear your shoes in the house. So that's a health thing. So you should say right away, you don't walk past that tray without taking off your shoes. And so, the first thing my kids do is kick off their shoes. There's like a pile up in my mudroom, when we all get into the house, because everybody's kicking off their shoes, which is great. Sometimes they get into the baskets, sometimes they stay on the floor, and then it's gentle reminders, so-and-so, can you come back here and please put your sneakers in the basket? Would you mind? I've got these bags, team effort. I need my team, that kind of thing. I like the idea of the team approach to a house, running a house. I was a stay-at-home mom for a long time, and I did most of the work, and I really felt a little abused.
Yeah.
And I have embraced more of a team effort, and my kids are older now too, and they do a lot more around the house, which is great. And it is so much better. Everybody is happier. Everybody is more participatory. I feel more supported. I don't mind my tasks that I have to do because I know I'm being supported in other ways. So, when something happens, like, somebody leaves their shoes on the floor, it's not a big deal. I don't mind picking them up. I always say, hey, buddy, you left your shoes. I picked them up for you. Next time, remember to put them in the basket.
That's awesome. It reminds me of something that I help my clients work with in my One Step Better program. Is we we practice what I call the touch it once principle, which is the same thing, right? You use more energy and waste more time by going back and doing a task over again that you could have done the first time. So like when you're in the kitchen and you're using spices, you use it and you put it away, or you get in the house, you put your shoes away. That way you're not going back in and wasting time that you'd like to use doing something else to do what you could have done right the first time. So,
right. And that's the same kind of principle as like the 2-minute principle, where, don't put off something that you can do in 2 minutes. I like the touch it once principle, but, so if you can, file that receipt, instead of putting it down, put it in a file.
yes.
That cuts down on clutter. If you can put away the peanut butter that you made the sandwich with, instead of leaving it on the counter, just put it away.
That's right. That's right. That's awesome. And so how have you seen this improve your health and your clients' health over time as you've helped them get organized?
Well, definitely. So my health has definitely improved. I think that an organized and tidy house has helped our family dynamic a lot. We're not wasting time on cleaning or organizing or whatever. The work is done, and now it's just maintenance, and so it's easier tasks. And so I think people enjoy each other now more in the home, because it's not like, oh, we've got to handle the garage this week. I don't really want to do that. I want to do something else. Well, too bad, we've got to do the garage this weekend. That just doesn't happen. But I will share with you that a couple of weeks ago, I had a client contact me, and she was actually actively going through an anxiety attack. And she knew that organizing her closet would help her feel better. And she just knew that. And so she asked me if I could hop on Zoom with her for an hour and just walk her through what she should be doing. And maybe she would feel better. She just needed that support. So I hopped on Zoom with her, and it was super simple. It was color coding, a little decluttering, moving some things around. It was not a big deal. But by the end of it, she was calmer. She was in control. She didn't need to take her rescue meds, because she had taken a piece of her home and made it calmer. And she had taken control of something that was a little out of control in her life and made it controlled. And it really helped her mental health.
I love that. And what a powerful thing to know that those small things that we can control will ripple into the bigger things, the emotions that we feel, like that anxiety, the stress, even the inflammation that we feel in our bodies. All these things can be reduced simply by taking control of little things in our environment around us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm folding sweaters and organizing closets. I'm not curing cancer and bringing world peace about. But when I work with a client like that, there is really some great payoff that we can control parts of our lives. We can't control all parts of our lives, but there is some inner control that we can have of our environment, and we can make the decision: is it calm or is it chaos? And if you can live in chaos, that's great. But I haven't found a client yet who's comfortable in chaos.
That's awesome. And so true. So I am a huge teacher and advocate for someone changing their environment to get the results that they want. So what is one thing you could tell our listeners, our viewers today, that they could do today to start creating the environment that they want? And I think actually the 15-minute challenge that you've given would be a good way to start. But what's one thing you think would make a difference for them today if they started it now?
Well, I think one thing that you could do is find the room that bothers you the most
Mm,
and go and sit in it and come up with a vision of how you want it to be different. And it doesn't have to be different furniture or a different layout. It's how you want to feel in that room.
awesome.
And then make it happen. Figure out, is it moving the books? Is it moving the furniture? Is it bringing, is it taking things out? Is it bringing something in? We can, is it bringing in a carpet so you can sit on the floor and play with your kids? That's the first step. And then I would say, take a look at some of my Instagram challenges. You mentioned the 15-minute challenge. I'm going to do another one in probably a week where I'm going to do my top 10 decluttering tips. I'm going to do them one at a time. So that might be something that people can get on board with. But the 15-minute decluttering challenge would be a really great one to start. I think people would really enjoy that.
Awesome. I love those, both the thought of creating a vision in a room that you want, creating that feeling, and then just starting with 15 minutes. So for all those who are watching and listening today, let us know what you're going to start with, what room you're going to start with, what your vision for that room is, how you want to feel, and then share with us what you're going to do for 15 minutes and how it went. We'd love to keep this conversation going in this group. So thank you so much, Maria. Oh, and before we sign off, how can people go deeper with you? Where can they find you if they want to learn more?
So on Facebook, I'm Bliss This House CT. And on Instagram, I'm Bliss This House _CT. And so, and if I'm a member of the group, I'm a member of Amy's group. So if you just say, Maria, help, I need a help. I have a vision, but now I have nowhere to go. I would be happy to help. I'm always available. I can just give you some advice. We can do something virtual. You can fly me out to wherever you are. I'm whatever you need, whatever level service you need.
Okay, awesome. We will put your link and your your IG handles and stuff in the comments after this video is posted. So thank you so much, Maria, for all of the wonderful advice that you shared and for bringing a little bit more peace into our environment and the process, to know that we can enjoy the process. I think that's super important, to know that it doesn't just have to be like, if I can just make it through this cleaning session or whatever, but it can actually be an enjoyable part of creating that environment that we want.
And I will share that on Spotify, I have a playlist that I created to organize and clean your home to. And it's just something fun that I created. So I'll get Amy that link so that people can check that out. It's just something silly that I created, but I love it. And it's super fun to, rummage through your junk drawer and listen to fun music and dance around to it.
That's awesome. I'm a huge Spotify playlist fan, so share that in the group. I'm excited to listen to it and clean out my junk drawer this
Absolutely.
week. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Maria, and thank you everyone for participating with us. And I look forward to learning much more from you, Maria, and how to create a better environment. I really think that there's so much more to this than we give credit for. So thank you for taking the time to share this with us today.
Thanks, Amy.
Yeah, we will see you all later. Make it a great day, and keep your eyes peeled for more trainings coming your way. So talk to you later.